actually been halfway under a house one time and did actually see a skunk, and I thought, man, it wasn't moving. I thought, man, I'm glad that sucker's dead, until he turned his head around and looked at me, and I went, I'm way too far from the crawl hole. I'll never get out of here in time. So I'm just there going, hi, very nice. Didn't move. Stayed there the whole time I was down there. Never moved. Just kept looking at me. All right.
Oh, good. You got it on your computer.
Yeah, I'm going to videotape up for what he says, because I got to take it to the office, and just what he says is very valuable. So I can always remember.
Okay.
In case you don't want to
Obviously, that would be the
reflect back
house. Really nice, actually. All right. Okay, first thing we've got is on the water heater. On the side of the water heater is your TPR, pressure relief valve, and that basically is required by code to have a pipe on it that goes down under the house all the way outside, so that if it ever does blow off the pressure and all that scalding hot water, it doesn't go into the house, obviously. You don't want that ruining all the floors. The code requires that being piped outside, so obviously we did not have a permit when this water heater was put in, or it was also not installed by a professional plumber. It was by Joe Homer. We'll call him Joe today.
Okay, yeah.
Next, code requires that any water heater that is in the inside of the home, not outside in the closet or in the garage, but if it's inside the house, code requires you have to have a catch pan underneath it with a 1-inch routed pipe to the exterior of the house. So if the water heater leaks, it'll go into a catch pan. Again, did not put any of that in. Next, O2, and this was after O2, this was put in, on the gas line, going to the module here, code requires you have to have a gas pipe drip leg. So, because I found out later, basically they didn't understand that PG&E's gas actually has some condensation in it.
We need a plumber here.
Yeah. And it gets condensation in it. And they couldn't understand why these darn modules were burning out within like just 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like, water heaters should last 20 to 30 years. What's going on here? They found out that the condensation coming through PG&E's lines was rusting out the interiors of these things. Yeah. So they said, okay, let's put a T in, drop a pipe down, the condensation will drop in that pipe, it'll evaporate, and it won't ever get into the module. Anyway, that is actually required. I don't know if you noticed when we're walking around the exterior of the home, there is a lot of outside boxes ready for light fixtures outside for these switches and lights and everything. Nobody's put the lights on yet. The boxes are there, and the wires are just dangling out of them still. Got 2 on this corner, 1 on this corner. So there's a few light fixtures that have not been basically finished yet. Almost 80% of the sprinkler valves are all leaking. Like this one's just pouring, just drip, 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 drip. And it's not even on. It's always drip. So it's on the side of the pressure, unfortunately. So a lot of repairs needed to the sprinkler system. They extended this kitchen out. You can see this part right here. It's about, what, 2 feet deep right here? This wall used to come across, and they just basically cantilevered the whole thing out for that 2 feet. The only problem is this is the cantilever out to the front, so rather than trying to put some kind of foundation screens on it, they put the screen material up to the bottom of these 2x6s, and unfortunately it has all fallen down now. So anything that would like to live down there can move in.
Okay.
So all that screen material is going to have to be re-screwed all back up. Yeah.
But it all seems pretty, like, they did
It's all there. Yeah, it's the full length of this 8 feet or so. They just need to get underneath it on their back, get underneath with a little, cordless drill, and zip, 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 some screws up underneath it, pull it all up tight, just so no rodents and stuff get under the house, obviously. Electrical panel. Basically what I've got there is somebody had a breaker in here, and you know the little metal, they've been back and forth until it pops out. They can put a breaker in. Well, unfortunately, they took one of the breakers out, so now we've got a hole in the panel, so they're supposed to come back in with a 1-inch wide plastic, the little black blanks. You just snap a blank in there. They're plastic, they're cheap. But anyway, it does need to have a blank put in.
Okay. If the panel looked okay?
No. Joe has been doing a little wiring himself over the years.
Oh, so we need an electrician now?
Basically, code says your white neutrals, 1 white neutral for 1 screw. As far as these ground wires, they could care less. You can take 4 or 5 of those and put them under 1 screw. It's just the white neutrals have to be by themselves under a screw. You can see here they put the ground and neutral together, ground and neutral together. No.
Okay.
What's weird though, you come down here, there's actually open screws. I mean, it would be nothing. It's a freebie.
Yeah.
Just loosen a couple of these up, take them off, and put them on. I mean, it's not a real big deal, but anyways.
Okay.
Wiring speed on that way. Main water shutoff is outside right here. Actually, right under Craig, used to be the main water shut-off, and it is still under the house, because this was the window. We're looking in the backyard when they did this addition. Well, this is where the water shut-off was, because all of your utilities come from the back fence.
Right.
Electric, gas, everything.
All comes from the back?
All from back forward. And what they did was they left the shut-off valve down there in the on position, came outside, and did another one outside. And that's what this
Why
one
would
is
they
out
do
here.
that when they just replumb it?
Good question. This
So
is
no
all
valves
done
go-
without permits, so it's just where the homeowner-
Doesn't those valves go bad after a while?
Yeah, oh, there's some rust on this one down there. It's not leaking, but eventually. Only thing they did was somebody busted the handle on the main water shut-off outside. So that needs to be basically the handle. Just take this Phillips screw out and put a new handle on it. Right now it's real sharp, hardly can even turn it. Okay, this is the corner of the house. Here you can see I've got 2 electrical boxes up in the siding, both basically ready to put a fixture on, but neither one of them have lights yet. And of course you can't have wires just dangling out. It's good place. Do have some trip hazards at the sidewalks, both south and west, where the tree roots have lifted up the sidewalks about 2 inches high. Next, code requires any time that you're leaving, like the sliding glass door here. When this house was built, the code was not out. It came out in the 70s. But anyway, when you go out the door, you had to have a landing, at least out as far as the width of the opening door. So say that's a 6-foot door, and 3 foot wide is the opening. You have to have a landing 3 feet out before you can start your first step. You cannot immediately walk out the sliding glass door and go step, step, step. That's code violation. They obviously didn't want to do it, because by the time they would get out there, you couldn't walk across there.
Right, you have to have a wall where it's-
Yeah. Now, the other side of this whole thing is, I have no idea in downtown here. It used to be there was a max and a minimum as far as your side yard, your backyard, and how much you had to have.
Yeah,
Like in Roseville, Fair Oaks, Orangevale, you must have 20 feet. Must have 20.
clearance.
Some of the downtown city areas allow for 12. I mean, you know these old houses down here.
Yeah.
You walk in the backyard, you almost hit the fence with your face.
Yeah,
I don't even think that's 12.
He's not from this area. She
So-
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
actually out from Long Beach, but
Oh, sure.
it's
Right.
probably have the
I
similar.
mean, same,
Yeah,
we got
definitely.
same feeling. It's the same idea.
So, was
So
it,
we don't even know whether or not this actually, if you were to say, hey, I want to try to get a permit on this, or a partial permit,
yeah,
whether they would even give it to you. The guy could walk out here and go, well,
Say,
I
well,
can't
just-
give you anything.
Yeah.
You're too close to the fence line.
right,
So I don't know.
yeah,
All of those factors would come in, because I think if you go down to the building department and say, I would like to have a copy of every permit that was ever pulled. I don't care if it's a heater, water heater, air conditioner, framing, whatever. I want every permit. Who knows? They might give you one permit from the original, and that's it.
right,
So you don't know, but for me, I would go down and just ask for all the copies. They pull the microfiche out and give you the copies, and then that way you'll know whether or not this room was done with the permit, was any of it, that kind of stuff.
do they, all you gotta do is request that, they don't
Yeah.
charge you, or?
Sometimes they can, depends on
They don't.
who you got. Most of the time it's free.
Oh.
I had one lady in Roseville one time wanted to charge me $1 a paper. Yeah. Whatever. All right, fine. So next, we have our regular roof, which is your 25-year tabbed composition type of a roof up there. And then over here on this new addition that they did on the other side of that wall, it's basically a flat top with just a slight little slope. And since that's lower than 2 and 12 pitch, they cannot use a tabbed composition. They have to use that 3 foot wide, rolled out type that overlaps a couple of inches, and they put up either tar and they tar it. This is what's happening to that whole entire flat top roof. It has major alligatoring cracks through the whole entire thing. You would never be able to get a roofer to give you any kind of a roof certification on it.
Okay,
It's done. It probably is a defect in the material. That roof is not old enough that it should be doing that yet.
all right. Do you think it affected
So-
what's underneath it?
It will, if it hasn't already.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
if they did, well, they probably.
Yeah,
applied
usually
it.
that's about between 20 and 22 years is about when that stuff should kind of start maybe breaking down.
Yeah,
I don't think that's 20 years old yet.
yeah,
There's no way. But anyway, it's already falling apart.
okay.
Yeah.
So I heard a roof.
So a roof, and that's only on the addition, not the main getting apart in the home. Okay, before anybody has a fire in the fireplace, please go up on the roof and remove the cap. Somebody literally put an entire cover over the top of the chimney and bolted it down tight. from inside, you would never know it. You'd go, oh good, the damper's open, okay, good to start the fire. And you wonder why the smoke's coming back into the house. They put a whole entire cover over the top of the chimney up there. Metal, it's not just a whatever piece of wood or something, I mean, it's metal. Oh, hey. So I've got to laugh about that.
I guess.
I'm not sure, unless they didn't want to have, maybe they weren't having fires, and they didn't want that cold air to come in when the furnace is on.
Yeah.
Sucking air down through the furnace. Kind of funny. All the gutters are packed with leaves, so it's time to get somebody out to clean all of the gutters. Okay, underneath the house, I'm not sure why, but there is a lot of wood down there. When they did the form boards, the 2x4s that they use, the 1x4s that they use for the stakes and everything that you use for your form boards, they left almost all the stakes in. They left a lot of the wood in for the form boards. It's everywhere down there, more than I've ever seen in a house. I've been doing this 23 years. I've never seen that much wood. It's everywhere down there.
So they should have taken all that out.
It should.
This is the foundation?
This is just one of the boards I shot. You can see they're just disintegrating everywhere down there,
Yeah.
whether it be from termites or whatever. The house has been treated once before. You can see where the holes were drilled in the concrete out of the front patio where they shot the solution in underneath because there was termites here. Well, you might as well just write up an invitation for them. I mean, it is solid wood everywhere.
It's conducive to, it should be all removed.
Yeah, it really
Put it
should.
down by the
It would be a
toilet.
lot of work. I don't know whether Pest also said the same thing or not. That probably should be removed. And then what they can't remove if it's in the earth is they have to treat it. Yeah, it'd be a little bit of work because we're not talking just a couple of boards. It's the whole entire foundation, everywhere down there, up the middle, everywhere boards are laid.
So this is the foundation right here?
This is one of the concrete foundations.
And these go all the way up?
That was the 2x4 going up, and that used to have the form boards behind it for them to pour the concrete.
Yeah.
Well, they slid the form boards out and left
Okay,
these in there.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what? I mean, just weasel back and forth when it's wet and you pull them out. But
Yeah.
no, they left it. So quite a bit of wood down there. This would be our toilet. You can see the water is just pouring down the side of it when we flush that toilet. Yeah,
And
it's
that's
loose.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
because
that's
the floor too over here, but that's over there, so that's.
Yep.
The toilet that's left under here, or the toilet that leaks?
Well,
The one in there, yeah.
And that's
Right
one
under
underneath the
Craig,
house.
there's actually a toilet they left down there. I laughed my head off on that one.
Like a solid toilet, they're just.
Yeah, and you'll never get it out now without basically, it's porcelain. You'd have to bust it all up with a sledgehammer. to get it out.
What?
Oh,
Why
yeah.
would they do that?
Well, got nothing for you. Some people are lazy.
no, they just did it like this. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it like, everything, most of
It's
it.
a trip to the dump.
This, yeah.
Extra trip is done.
This is the P-trap drain underneath the house for the tub shower. See the water just pouring off of it. So the two leaks are the tub and the toilet. Both have to have a plumber come out and repair those. Next, the water's coming out of the air gap here when the dishwasher discharges the water. And the reason why, you have your discharge hose up to here, which is great. They did do the knockout out of the garbage disposal. That was my first thing I figured. They probably forgot to pop the knockout out. But anyway, it is great. Unfortunately, the black hose from the air gap that comes down, around, and goes onto the side of the disposal, goes around, and they tried to bend it. And unfortunately, it just kinked it. So it's completely kinked. So no water can go into the disposal. So it's all pouring out of here, running all over the counter. Yeah. So if that's the only place it can be, the only way to fix it is you buy a 3/4 inch copper elbow. It's a regular 3/4 elbow, 2 clamps. That black hose fits it perfect. It'll slide right onto it, clamp it, slide it right on, clamp it. Now it makes a perfect elbow for you, and there's no more problems. If that hose cannot be straightened out in some way. You'd probably have to rotate the garbage disposal to a different position in order for that to happen. But otherwise, it just, you buy it, cut the hose, and install that 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch copper elbow. Oh, matter of fact, I got a picture of it right here. This is the kink where it comes here and it goes back here. It's just completely kinked.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next, unfortunately, our folks decided to put in new vinyl dual pane windows. Awesome. The only problem is, as soon as you put the brand new windows in, you do have to now put it up to code. And unfortunately, none of the bedroom windows meet the fire egress codes.
Oh,
They're
you mean
all
for the
too small.
Small.
You have to have a minimum
did
of
the second
20
one, didn't
inches.
you?
I know. This is when we're running into this
Okay,
a few
well,
times. So let me just show you real quick. It's basically in the bedroom. You can't see a thing. There's no come out, as soon as you replace this window, you do have to meet the new code.
Right.
Right.
You have to have at least 20 inches of width in the opening part of the window to be fire egress, not just for the person getting out, but for the fireman getting in with the tank on his back.
Yeah.
So either this one or
Well,
that one.
he redid his windows, and we had to get the ones that open this way.
Yes.
But they're more expensive,
There.
but you had to get the.
That would have been the way to have fixed this whole
Yeah.
thing, would have been a single home window.
Right.
And that probably would have done it. I believe you have to have 18 inches no, I'm sorry, it's 22, I think, high and 20 wide in the opening. And I think that would have passed, you're right. But nobody thought of that, so the guy goes down and orders the windows.
Right.
Doesn't have an actual professional window company that came out to measure, would have said, hold it, I can't put that window. I know you want that window, but I can't do it. It's not gonna get the fire egress, I'm gonna lose my license. If I put that in and you turn me into the contractor's board,
Yeah.
I'm done. I've got to put in a fire egress window. And they would have probably said, hey, we can do a single home here, we're fine to go. But, and the same thing with that bedroom, also, all too small windows.
That one too, because that one's a huge one.
The problem is the middle window is a picture window.
Oh.
It's a side window.
Just would have put the bar up the middle and a nice big single slider across with the bar up the middle. Here, it would have passed.
Yeah.
Right.
But they decided they want a
Well, they
picture.
would have just even.
And they only have 17 and 17. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Homeowners insurance, all that kind of stuff comes into play when
Yep.
we're talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So these are not like, you should take it as is, well, you may be hurting your homeowners or fire insurance or any of that kind of stuff also.
Some more.
They can easily void the insurance if they find out that this was done improperly like this. So that's, yeah. Of course, I'm sure the seller will get all excited about you know this nice new buying windows out. He would not be a happy camper. Now, that is only in the bedrooms that is required. All the rest of these areas, living,
They look like they-
only sleeping areas, yeah, are the only spots that need to have.
Aren't you glad we have Randy?
No, that's.
I was something to think of. That front bedroom, in the closet, it looks like they were gonna put a light up there, but they actually just left the wiring hanging out. And the guy goes, hey, I've got this fluorescent one. I'll mount it to the back of the header, and I'll just run the wires over and put some wire nuts on it, and that'll work when I put the switch on. I'll have a nice light in the closet. So all the wires are just dangling out and everything. It's like, okay, I think we need to move along. This is not gonna work. So anyway, up in our attic, we do have a couple spots up there where they put the wire splices in junction boxes, but never put a cover plate on them. So we just need to get the cover plates up in the attic is all that is. There's a couple spots like that. Yeah, there's insulation in the attic. There's no insulation in our floor joists. Of course, they never did back then. I have a couple spots where they took the insulation out to run a couple of things, and they left it laying over on the side. Nobody came back and put it back in between the ceiling joists. It's just laying over here. Usually they take it and put it back and pat it back in between it. The only thing that I've got up there that you would notice is if you stick your head in the attic, the amount of rodent or rat urine smell in the attic is excessive.
In the attic.
In the attic. I don't get it so much down here. It's not coming through the insulation or the ceiling. But if you get up there, it is, whoa, it is potent in the attic right now. There's rat droppings all over the place out there. Now, pests and termite, they don't really get into it. I'm not supposed to get into pests, so it's one of those little gray areas, like, oh, who does it? Nobody really does.
Get a cat and some
Yeah,
poison.
get a cat. Here, Putty, have fun. So anyway, I have no idea if they're still up there or
So does that
not.
mean the insulation needs to be changed because it's.
Normally, yes. I only know one guy in Sacramento that's his profession. He actually knows how to take it out, deodorize the entire attic, and put the new insulation back. And you never smell it again. Yeah, he's got special chemicals and everything that completely kills the smell. But can you believe having a job? I mean, that's my job. I get rid of rodent urine. Oh, whoa, not what I want to be telling everybody. Anyway, moving right along. Okay, that would be just the house. Let me get pictures. Let me get into the quick body of the report here. Outside around the grounds, the tripping hazards we already talked about. Tripping hazards in the driveway and the sidewalk both where the concrete's been lifted. Patio, the family room sliding glass door doesn't have the correct, as far as the landing on it. Patio cover looks good. Oh, fences, very good. I have no posts that are loose on all three sides of the backyard. All the posts are nice and tight, and most of that fence is brand new. Exterior walls look good. Didn't see any dry rot in the walls. The only dry rot really is in some of the trim and eaves. Not a lot, but anyway, that's going to be on the pest report. I don't get into itemizing where they're at. I'll just mention, hey, there's some moisture damage in the eaves, but that's as far as I'm allowed to go. Chimney, I just want to put in here the covered cap that's on the top. Just don't accidentally try to use it sometime.
But it is, I mean, everything else is.
Everything else is fine, though. And sprinklers need some TLC. The timer box outside, which has a ton of stuff for the dial, all the paper around it, somebody left the door open, and it rained. Wiped the whole paper off, so you have no idea what the click, 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 all the 12 positions around are for.
I had to test and trial thing.
Yeah, so at this point, I got nothing. You may have to buy a whole new timer. Some of the hose faucets outside, they got some faucets on the corners of the house and stuff. You turn the hose bib on, there's no water coming out. So they may be hooked to the sprinklers. We talked about the gutters being filled with all the leaves. Foundation, a lot of up and down in the foundation in the house. I mean, notice like when you walk into that front bedroom, you actually walk uphill to the middle of the bedroom. I mean, it's just, they're settling. Whoever did this, I'm not excited how they actually did it. There's like some of the boards go over and they're just butted against the end of the board. There is no support under the board. They just butted it to this one and took a toenail. So toenails are holding the floor up with no support.
All the way across?
Along this section right here.
Oh, okay.
Which, yeah, it was funny because I didn't even tell the desk guy. He came out and goes, what the heck's up with the foundation right here? I said, oh, you noticed that too? He goes, yeah. He says, it's just like toenails is all the holding the whole thing up. So I don't know if it's worth having a contractor that does foundations come out, crawl it, and give his best guess of what it would take to actually make this correct. But it's by no means up to what, if a building inspector would come out, how he would say, yes, absolutely, I'll pass that. Oh, he'd have said, no, I'm sorry, I need to have better support than that. Yeah, I mean, any novice person would know to put a pier and a post, you know, I mean, come on.
This is, I kind of had that feeling when I was looking at all the work being, the way they did it, I'm like.
Yeah. The screen material underneath the kitchen right here needs to be all screwed back up again. Now the thing is, around the perimeter of the house, even the old portion does have anchor bolts for earthquakes. I don't think we have any earthquakes here much, but if somebody like on their insurance says, you know, hey, are you bolted for earthquake? Just check the boxes. Yes, you are, absolutely. Major amount of wood debris under the house we talked about. Unfortunately, some of the areas under this house do not have access. You cannot get underneath about 4 foot this side or the full length of this house. And on the north side of the house, starting from this wall all the way forward, is about 8 feet. All of it. You can get up in between the floor joists and look over there, and you can see that somebody put plastic vesquine down on the dirt, which means probably before they put that laminate floor down, they had it open, and they were able to get underneath there. But rather than leaving the access hole, it's not there. There's nothing outside or inside, so you cannot even get underneath that side of the house over there. So pests couldn't get underneath there either.
He said that there should have been a door, like an outside door to crawl, like underneath. So you crawl
To get inside, yeah. But the,
So anyway, as far as him clearing all that stuff down there, that'd be up to them. Didn't really see any issues. I didn't see any termite tunnels or anything like that down there now. So the only thing I'm going to have on the roof is the major cracking in that flat top roof. Water and plumbing has got 44 pounds of pressure. They replaced most of the old galvanized water lines under the house with the new plastic PEX water lines, which is nice. A couple spots they went to copper, but for the most part, it's all been replaced down there. Sewer lines.
44, that's like a low, what we normally have, right?
Down here, it's kind of hard to say.
Oh, gotcha.
In the middle of the city, sometimes it's lower. The only thing I noticed, which was a little odd, being that they've replaced all the water lines, we should have really good water pressure. Yet if you go into the bathroom, turn the shower on. Okay, yeah, I can take a shower with that. That's pretty good. Turn the water on in the faucet. All of a sudden it goes down 50%. It goes from this to this. Walk out here and turn on the kitchen faucet, it goes to a drizzle. It can't keep up. Now, I don't know if that's because the main line coming in is still the old galvanized and it's just restricted so bad that, great, I mean, you got all from here over all brand new, but from here to there, it's still the old restricted stuff. I know if you've ever taken a Sawzall and cut a galvanized pipe in half, you can barely get your finger inside of it after 40, 50 years. But so honestly, again, I would throw that to the plumber and ask the plumber, you can tell him, hey, we got new PEX down there and some copper. They did replace the majority of the home, but we're thinking from the main up, it's still the old galvanized. Let's see what he says. They may be able to replace that and get the pressure back up in the house, but right now, you use more than 2 faucets in the house. Like say the washing machine was to kick on at the same time someone's taking a shower, oh, you lose half your pressure. Waste lines, we already talked about both the toilet and the tub leaking underneath the house.
And the sewer comes from the back too, or from the front? Because
From
you
the
said
back.
up and back.
Yeah, comes from the backyard, looks like.
Sewer?
Where all this stuff goes, I don't know. It's all around after that. Okay,
We start making it.
yeah, really. The water heater here in the hallway. Okay, the water heater should have a catch pan underneath it. We already talked about that to the exterior. Actually, I shouldn't even say should. It's a code requirement. They have to. No TPR valve piping for the gas pipe and PG&E. Unit requires a gas pipe drip leg. So all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Talked about that. I got pictures of all that kind of stuff. The furnace up on top of the roof does work, does run fine. It's just there's no ducting at this point to either the laundry room or to that den. So that's why we were saying an appraiser cannot give any value to those two rooms yet. The hallway, laundry, and in there. They have to have heat. Doesn't have air conditioning, but it has to have heat in order to get value.
And it's not, yeah, that's what we were.
So the
wondering.
problem is we have a flat top roof. So the only way to do anything in there now probably is, one, we go through the attic, go outside with a metal duct on the top of the roof and come down through, which probably, I bet, if you had a guy calc out the heating and air conditioning unit on the roof,
Yeah.
and you added that extra square footage,
It wouldn't be,
probably will not pass.
wouldn't
So
be
if
big
that's
enough.
the case,
Wouldn't be big
you're
enough.
talking about electric baseboard heaters. You have to bring the 220 line from the electrical panel, and you have those, they have to be permanently mounted. It cannot be a roll around unit. They have to be permanently mounted to the baseboard, and you turn them on, and they're electric baseboard heats.
No, we're done with that. The whole reason why I wanted a new house is I want air and heat. That's like the one thing.
Yeah. Or your other option is spend a few $1,000s and put a separate heat and air unit on top of the roof there, and have it come straight through the roof.
Well, that's cooler too, I mean, so it doesn't get cooled out back there either?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. There's no ducting to those rooms at all, which is why we're saying that there can't be any
So
boundaries.
that's gonna get really cold,
But
It's gonna
really
get
hot.
cold and it's gonna get hot.
I may be wrong, but it just seems like if you take this room and the front room and just 2 bedrooms and a bath, that's not 1,500 square feet.
Here's the
But
map, they got the map. They
You
got the
never know.
map.
I don't, it doesn't feel like
I'll
it's
send it
me.
to you.
I thought they were including for the 1,500.
Nope, they got the map here.
Because that other house we were looking at was,
Mm-hmm.
well, then plus that unit too. I mean, you said it works, but the way it
Oh,
sounds.
it's rattling really bad. Yeah. Yeah. So on mine, I'm just going to say heating notes. The furnace makes a vibration sound. Have a heating and air conditioning company come out and take a look at it. A little cool outside for me to run the air conditioner, but it, in fact, that's the other thing I wanted to try one more time on. Please hold. Run this down. I wanna run this one.
Okay, I just sent you guys all the map of the floor plan. When the appraiser did, you're getting the appraiser
Yeah, I
report.
got that on my cover page here.
What did they
This is all public. We get back
They
with the
did
lights.
it to me.
From the front
Yeah, oh yeah, as soon as water gets underneath, it'll actually bring up the
Oh, that's
joints.
good. It's one hurdle.
Yep.
But they also said it was.
Yeah, it's vibrating.
That's
This is
actually
the air
for the-
conditioner.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Just as well.
the motor or maybe the way they mounted it.
Right up here, right next to
Yep.
the, and they knocked it down.
Okay, let's see.
So that wasn't-
The panel cover right now in the electrical panel is loose. There's no, the screws are missing and everything on it.
No, they don't.
The front cover is actually laying on the ground.
When they come.
Okay, electrical, neutral and ground wires, white and ground, put on the same screw, and you get that taken care of. A lot of rust there, almost as if they left it open or something. Yeah, where the wires go onto the breakers, and they tighten the screw up, all those screws are just red and rusted, all of them rusted. It's like, wow.
That's a contact.
I think there was maybe 3 or 4 that were not rusted out of the whole panel. So they've had either that or a lot of moisture and exposure, they didn't have it closed up.
Did not count the 1505.
Opens in the dead front cover, that's where the black plastic blanks need to go in.
They did not count any of this.
Insufficient outlets in the den. In our den that they added in there, or the old garage, code requires every 12 feet must have an outlet. Well, there's not, there's almost 25 feet without an outlet, so anyway, it doesn't meet code at all without the electrical in there. Doorbell does not ding or gong. Let's see here. Outlets that are not properly grounded. The den in there in the addition, the north outlets and the east, right? East, yeah, and the east outlets, for whatever reason, they did not ground those outlets. However, over on the west wall of that den, it is grounded. So somebody didn't get the wiring correct in there. Missing exterior lights we already talked about. 2 of the kitchen outlets, basically not that one. About 1 outlet here, like this outlet's not grounded. This one is. Same thing here. This one's grounded, this one's not. How do you have one right next to it grounded? Come on, guys, you can hook up a wire and just detail it over. But anyway, so we've got 2 outlets in here that are not grounded, and all of us are. Unable to plug into the bathroom outlet. Something's wrong with that bathroom outlet. To plug a hair dryer or anything into it, I don't care how much you wiggle it and wiggle it and wiggle it, trying to get it to go in, it will not go in, top or bottom. I just want
What was that?
bathroom. You want to plug anything in the bathroom, you can't plug
I
it
have
in.
electrician out
Outlet.
here.
So throw that to the electrician.
Do they have to have the, what do you call it? The safety?
GFCI? Yeah, and it does. It does. Whether it'll work or not,
Yeah,
can't
can't
trust
get
it.
it in.
In the laundry room, there's 2 switches, one for an exterior light and one for the light inside. They installed both of those upside down. Got nothing for you on that one. I mean, how hard is it to turn that switch over? Okay, interior type of stuff. Damaged area, as far as the floor, we talked about that already, where the water leaked. Doors, almost 90% of every single door in the house either hits the jamb or rubs. I've got a couple you cannot even close the doors. They're actually hitting the jamb. They're not just rubbing a little bit. So a lot of tweaking on the hinges and stuff are going to need to be done to even close the doors for your bedrooms.
That's just lazy.
Windows, we already talked about that the bedroom windows do not meet the fire egress. Let's see here, we need to add one more thing to that real quick here. And let's see here, interior walls, loose sheetrock tape in the den. Some of the corners, the guy did a good job on the tape, where the corners are, with the 3-inch tape for sheetrock. It's all bubbling and coming loose. You hit it, it's all loose everywhere. The guy did a horrible job on it. Well, I mean, just take one look at the sheetrock.
Yeah.
You can tell, the guy is.
I don't know.
He should have left it to somebody who knew that they were doing.
Yeah.
Some ceiling cracks in the sheetrock or floors. Floor trim is loose at the front door for the laminate. Damaged laminate floor we talked about. Uneven areas I gave up. Through the whole house, other than the slab, there are uneven floors everywhere.
But so only here is because of the way that they
Way they
support the
framed
house.
it, yeah.
Everywhere else is just because of the way the house is.
It's just because the settling over the years and everything. A pier might settle a quarter of an inch, and this one didn't, so it comes up and down.
You're saying that they really should put a foundation across here.
Yeah, there's a good chance that there's quite a few little sections in here that really should have been better supported. Yeah.
Because this was the old house. This is the end of the
Yeah,
house.
you're right.
Might be
Yeah.
up to you.
Yep. Okay.
So we need heating and air. The HVAC guy.
Yeah, it's rattling just as bad. So it may be the squirrel cage fan. You're talking about being out of balance
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
That could be it, since it's doing it both on heat and on air.
Yeah.
So it could just be that the guy may need to replace those bearings.
I know somebody. We have somebody come out and check it out.
No carbon monoxide tester in the house yet.
Are you serious?
However, we do have smoke detectors in the bedrooms besides the hallway. But no carbon.
He must have called that out.
What if he saw it or not? Yeah. Or if he was thinking. Okay, laundry room. Laundry sink is not secured. Unfortunately, if you have water on, the thing just moves around. You can rip the P-trap right off the sink. Yes, the water's flowing all over the floor.
So I didn't even notice that there's a plastic one.
This is a plastic laundry sink, yeah. Also, the drain pipe that goes down in the P-trap, that's all leaking underneath the laundry sink when you run water through it. Gee, I wonder why, it's just moving it around. But anyway, so it does need to be all redone on that drain line. Up in the attic, yeah, there's some old water stains up there. The only thing I'm going to have is just that little bit of insulation that kind of is, they took it out and moved it over here. It's not that it's missing, it's right there. Somebody needs to put it in, basically. There is only about 3 inches deep up there. So, anyway, let me see, one other thing I wanted to check here. I guess I don't have that here. Okay. They have a very, very old power type ventilator fan on the end of this gabled end that would come on, you could flip it with a switch. It doesn't look like it's hooked up anymore. It almost looks like a 1950s, one of those old black kind of fans that did the oscillating back and forth type of thing. That's what it looks like. Somebody took off the base of it and tried to mount it on the side of it up there.
On the top?
It's hilarious. It's in the attic.
Oh, for your venting.
Where your vent on the inside would suck the air through the attic and pull hot air out. But anyway.
Well, it was back then.
Missed it by quite a bit. Anyway, 2x4 rafters, 2x4 ceiling joists. Okay, couldn't find the garage. Looked everywhere.
Yeah. It was under the house.
It was under the house with the
The
toilet.
toilet.
Sorry, I said it out loud, didn't I? Moving right along, our kitchen. I am not sure what we have here. This almost does not look like granite. It almost looks a little bit more like a corian, but it's not because it's been cut like granite with
Yeah.
45 cut
Yeah.
here and then that. So it may be a thinner style of granite, pretty much. Garbage disposal works fantastic. Range oven, bake, broil, everything underneath this is fine. Microwave's working really good. Dishwasher, they did not put the screws yet into this, and the reason why, there's no plywood underneath this granite. Normally, there's a little tab here and here, you put two little half-inch screws. Well, they're gonna have to glue something on to screw it to, because if you open the door up and push down on the door, the whole dishwasher comes out into the room. So you can imagine if you roll a heavy roller, your bottom rack out, it's gonna tip out. The other thing, they've got it so far back underneath there, you can't hardly get it open. But I will say this, not to badmouth any appliance companies, but being that this word is on this, keep up your home warranty every year. Unfortunately, Frigidaires do not have the best of reviews. Average life on a Frigidaire dishwasher is 13 months. 1 month after their warranty runs out. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Consumer Affairs gave them the worst appliance ever built in the world about 8 years ago. Electrolux vacuum cleaners bought them back up again. And Frigidaire went out of business, filed bankruptcy back in the early 80s. And they've been gone for 25 years. Anyway, Electrolux vacuum cleaner wanted to pick up the line again and start doing them. And computer chips, everything were wrong on them. They're terrible. But anyway, so
Is that what the fridge is too?
they did try. I don't think so, is it? I don't know. They did actually try selling them for a short period of time,
Yeah.
and they couldn't sell them because they were uglier than sin and nobody wanted to buy them.
Yeah.
So they decided, hey, why don't we start putting on this kind of fakey looking chrome stuff with the black, and all of a sudden they started selling them. Yeah, people like it. So anyway, but just you know that, and same with the microwaves. The parts in them tend to burn out pretty quick and easy because they're all plastic. But anyway, so we're
That's
keeping up
Frigidaire.
that warranty.
That's Frigidaire.
And dishwasher. We already talked about the hose being kinked underneath on the discharge hose. And it's also not being secured. Other than that, the microwave does work just fine. Last is our bathroom. Toilet, basically, I got all this stuff still out here. But anyway, it's loose at the floor, so it needs to be retightened back up again so that it quits leaking under the house. Probably needs a new wax ring. Sink-wise, no problems there really. Just the drain stopper's missing in the hall bathroom sink. You pull the thing up to the drain stopper. Well, anyway, there's no drain stopper in the sink. Bathtub-wise, drain stopper does not work in that one. It's one of those type that you press down, it's supposed to go click, 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 click. It's better to get the type that are all brass. You pick it up to a half turn, it stays up, half turn, it drops back down again. This already, brand new, the spring is already broken. Yeah, they just don't last very long. So I would unscrew, you can unscrew these and just take it out and put in a solid one that just does the little half turn thing. And the shower valve, unfortunately, does not get completely hot in that shower. You will not be able to take one, any kind of shower in there. The reason why is this is what's called a Monotrol. And Monotrol actually, after you take the big, huge chrome escutcheon ring off and you get into the wall, there's actually a dial back here. And you can set it so a little kid can't turn it on and scald themselves. You set it at the temperature you like, you take the handle, just go all the way around till it stops, and you get that temperature every time. There's no guessing to see if you're in the right area or not or whatever. Nice idea, but unfortunately, probably the guy installed it, never tested it to see how hot it was getting, and maybe turn it up a little bit more until like, okay, yeah, that's good right there, perfect. But then again, you might like a hotter shower than he does, so you never know. So that's kind of why I don't like them. I prefer to turn it all the way up to scalding hot, and then you adjust how you like it.
Yeah, hot bath in the wintertime.
So
That's just behind the cover?
it's behind the escutcheon ring cover, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to write it up that it's not getting completely hot. I don't put that in there in case there's a problem with that dial.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Right, because then you
make light of it
might be
because
stuck or
it
something.
could be stuck or something like that, yeah. But that's 90% of the time, that's the answer to that problem.
Okay.
I don't like this one though. This valve only goes from 3 o'clock to 12. It does that. That's it. It doesn't go all the way over and all the way back. Like usually it's from 3 all the way around to 9 o'clock.
Is it a big thing to change the valve out for that right or
I
it's set
don't know.
up?
It may not be.
Okay.
That's a pretty common valve, to be honest
Yeah,
with
I
you.
just,
Dime a dozen. You know, it's not like, oh, it's so old, you'll never find one. No. And that's it.
That's it?
Really? Are you sure?